Well, hello and welcome to Kudung Knife You Don't Need, and today we are going to talk about these two knives here. This is going to be an episode about small knives, and you can have a look at my other videos on small knives, such as this one, the Mazarin Dolphin with ebony handle and a blade made of AUS8 stainless steel, or this very tiny switchblade knife from the town of Maniago, Italy, northeastern Italy. Why do I have this Opinel in the picture with this nasty black stain here? Well, you will learn soon enough. But the stars of the show are these knives. And these twin knives, the only difference between the two is the handle. You can see that this one, the black one, has an ebony handle and I don't know how to call this thing here. Whereas this one, the brown one, has a cocobolo handle. I'm pretty sure this is cocobolo. I might be wrong, but cocobolo handle and cocobolo thing here. And you can see that this one got broken. I then managed to glue it, but you can see the cracks still. And these two knives are quite a thing. They are quite an object of design, if you ask me. And their handles, these are Framelock construction. As you can see, they're very small, and their handles are made of titanium. So this, the handle and the belt clip, or the pocket clip to be more precise, this is all titanium, and the scales, if we can talk about scales, are made of wood, as we have said before, ebony and cocobolo. But maybe you want to know about the weight and measurements of these ones. Well, let's see how much they weigh. 27 grams for the ebony scale one, and 27 grams for the other. For a length, when closed, of almost 3 inches, 2 and something. In centimeters, it's a closed length of 7.2 or 7.3. A blade, a length when open of a total of 12 and 3 mil, 12 and 4 mil, less than 12 and a half, which in inches is almost 5 inches. And a blade length of 2.5, as you can see, a bit less than 2.5, which in centimeters is, well, 6 centimeters, but cut-in portion is 5. I think it's safe to say that the cut-in blade is less than 5 centimeters. So 4.5 cut-in blade for a total of 6 centimeters blade, or 5.5 if you want to count it up to the notch here. The blade on these ones are made of the good trusty Sandvik 12 C27 steel. This is not your space age premium steel, but it's a good steel. It takes a nice edge. It is easy to resharpen, and it resists corrosion quite a lot. You know, if you have been following my channel for a while, you know that I like to keep boxes, slips, and paperwork of all my knives. And why? You might be wondering, don't I have the boxes for these two? Well, it's easy, because the boxes for these two were very beautiful. They were almost like, diamond ring boxes, that jewelry boxes that you find that they open like this, and they maybe have sweat inside, and they make a sort of clock sound when you open them, and you know that you are opening the box of a thing of beauty and of a thing which is precious. And so why did I throw them away? Well, it's because those boxes, the outer portion of those boxes was made of a material which looked like leather, but leather it wasn't. It was some kind of plastic substitute for leather that along the years began to give its color away. So when I have the boxes of these two knives into my bigger box with other knives, such as this one, the boxes of these two small knives began to stain whatever was near them. And this white modded Opinel, and by the way, watch a video I made on modding Opinels. This white handled Opinel got stained, and I have tried to take off the stain of this one, but I wasn't able with regular detergent. I think the only option left for me is sand it down and then repaint it, which is something that I might do, because I didn't do much of a paint job here. You see it's flaking. It's flaking off, it's flaking away, so I might decide to repaint this. These two are beautiful, but they're not that good for, you know, heavy use, as you can imagine. When I bought them, I thought, this is a titanium frame lock construction. They might be small technological wonders. Their lock will be very hard. But I was wrong, you know. You see, the lock is like this. It locks with a tiny fraction of, I don't know. I don't even know if it gets to a mil. So if I want, and if I push not that hard, well, if I push a hard dish, now I'm not being able to close it without pressing here. But maybe if I tap it. No, I was wrong. This knife is trying to prove me wrong on camera, which is something that I wouldn't be bothered about, because it would mean that the lock on this one is, well, harder than I thought, or harder than I remember. But anyway, it's a bit wobbly, but this is all adjustable. You can see that the construction of the handle allows you to fasten the pin with a regular Allen wrench, and then you can fasten the clip with your Torx screws. You have a Torx screw here, and you have also Torx screws here for the scales of the handle. It's a better lock than I remembered, but still, this might need some setting up, because you can see, as you can see, the blade now is not resting in its slot, in its dedicated slot, but it's resting on the scales. But if I push it a bit, now it is resting on its dedicated slot. So one hand opening, nice click, one hand closing, but not always the closing is, you know, nice and precise. You have to help the blade get into its own designated place. Let's see the other one with the Coco Bolo handle. Flip it open. The blade on this one is less wobbly, so this one has seen less use. And when I close it, the blade goes to rest where it should. So this one works better, whereas the Ebony one needs some tuning. And why do I have two? Well, because I gave my wife one of these. This one is the one that I gave to my wife, and this one is the one that I got from me. And they were in those boxes, and they looked like rings. Now, my wife really did like these knives, and she really has no problems admitting if she doesn't like something that I give her. So many times gifts will be received with a perplexed, to say the least, face, and with a kind of a dismissive comment. It was not the case for these ones. She really liked this knife, to the point that she decided a few years back to carve the Halloween pumpkin with it. Do I need to say that that was a bad idea? Because you need a bigger knife to do that. And in fact, she cut herself and she got stitches. She would have been much better off using an Opinel knife, or, you know, a regular kitchen knife. But, you know, these were our engagement knives, even though we were not formally engaged and we had known each other for a huge amount of years already. But, you know, this was the closest thing that I gave my wife to an engagement ring, and you know, she was happy, genuinely, sincerely happy about that, up until the time in which she cut her hand, and then, you know, she said, you know, you can have this knife. I kind of hate it, and I can sympathize with her. I haven't told you about the brand of this knife. This is a knife from the brand VIPER, based in Maniago, Italy. And this is not the first knife, or these are not the first knives from the brand VIPER that I have reviewed on this channel. One of my most used folding knife with titanium handle is reviewed, and I will put the links in the description and or here or here or here. So all in all, these are, you know, good objects to look at. They're good knives if you want to cut a letter open, maybe to whittle a small piece of wood, or to cut some rope, or maybe to cut some very tiny piece of cheese. But, you know, don't carve your Halloween pumpkin with these knives. And, you know, tell me what you think about the small knives, or these knives in particular, in the comments. And subscribe. Haven't you subscribed yet? If you're enjoying this video, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next of Kudden knife you don't need. Ciao.